look, the one thing I find unbelievable,
Mhm.
is the nastiness that comes out of some people when you say, "Oh, Xbox," because the title, and I'm going to read verbatim, folks. The Xbox Series X and S keeps selling out again, question mark. So it's a question. It's not a statement. It's not every place. It's not every Walmart or Best Buy or Target or GameStop, right? It's not everything. But listen, if you are looking on the socials, like literally today, Lethal Papa Boss Mod was just saying it in the chat that people keep posting that it's sold out here, there, and everywhere. Now, is that across the whole world? No, it is not. And no one would even suggest such a thing. But they're doing good enough where they're moving consoles. They're moving consoles, because NCAA 25 is the first college football since 2014. Okay. That is a game that's only available on two
It's
platforms, the
current gen.
Xbox
That's
and
it.
the PlayStation. It's not available on the Switch. It's not available on PC, and it's not available on last gen. So people are, like you said, are having to make a choice. And unfortunately for PlayStation, they are selling a $500+ box versus the Series S that is only $300. And if you go to GameStop, you get immediately $25 taken off on it. If you have a PS4 or an Xbox, One, you get 60 to 70 bucks, thanks to Psychonauts who pointed that out. And you're dropping it to just a pinch below $200. That is something that gets you into next generation. And I'm sorry to say, folks, if you, and this is not a slight, because people are casuals. There are 80+% of the market that are casual gamers that don't need the latest and greatest. So if you are coming from a PS4 or an Xbox One X or One S to get to a machine like the Series S that's going to be your 1440p machine, you're going to love what you're seeing because it's better than what you already had. And for
Facts.
200 bucks in the door, and you go and you buy the game, you're a winner, winner, chicken dinner. And like I said, folks, please do not think that just because they're casuals, they're ignorant to the world. I understand that we're hardcore, and we understand the nooks and the crannies and where to get Game Pass Ultimate for $9 a month. Maybe they don't, but I tell you what, they will know that Call of Duty is coming into the service, and they already have subscription services, whether it be Peacock, whether it be Hulu or Netflix or Paramount. They're already paying for subscription services. They'll look at this and say, wait a second, I don't have to buy these games. They're in the service, and they go and they get it. Why are
Yeah.
people so in their feels over us
Well,
celebrating Xbox actually winning?
because this time, see, this is the problem. Right now, in this phase of the generation, if people are starting to choose Xbox, it's because they're seeing that in their situation, it's the best place for them to be because again, like you said, these are more of the casual people, right? 4 years into a generation, your hardcore players have already essentially came in, right? Yeah, there's still going to be some that are waiting financially, holding off. But let me tell you something right now. This whole idea of casual, like we had a conversation on our show about it. Like we throw that around a lot, right? Because people don't play 50 million games, right? They play a game or two games or three games and that's it. And they get really good at those games, and it's hard to say to like with a straight face look at somebody and be like, man, this dude is casual when you get into Call of Duty multiplayer and you get wrecked by these quote unquote casuals, right? they're not they're not casuals, they're just selectively hardcore, right? Like they only mess with a certain type of game. So the problem for the new generation of consoles, the reason why PlayStation, half of the people who own the PlayStation 4 didn't move over to a new PlayStation 5 or to any generation console Same with Xbox, why so many people didn't move yet is because this generation has been, I mean, just to be very specific, for next gen has been ass, right? We're not talking about the games. The games have been great. We've had great games, but the next gen of it, like the point of, hey, you need a new console to experience this amazing thing, we haven't had it, right? Hellblade finally kind of popped off with that. And that was a huge one. Starfield was a huge one, right? Like we Xbox side, we've been getting into it, but let's be real, like Starfield is a hardcore gamers game, right? That's not a casual gamers game. So that was never going to be a game that made people who were on PlayStation 4 or Xbox One and make them say, "Yo, I need to go do this." It's just not in droves because it's a, again, more of a hardcore game, and those casual gamers still have the casual games they want. And when we say casual game, again, I want to kind of get away from this idea that Call of Duty means casual. What it means is that Call of Duty is like a sport, right? Like
Indeed.
you don't
Yeah.
call like an NBA professional athlete a he's a casual athlete because he doesn't do football or soccer or hockey, right? He only does basketball. So he's a casual athlete, right? No, right? He's a professional like these, just because you focus on one or two things doesn't mean you're casual.
Right.
So I think we as a group have to kind of put a little more respect on the name of people who do spend so much time playing certain games to a high level, right? Like that's just commitment, right? We're just people who can't focus long enough on something to get that good, right? Um, but the point is those people who haven't moved, they've had the games that they want still coming to them, right? The Call of Duty people who love Call of Duty, you know, not everyone can justify spending $500 or even, you know, $300 to play a game that they can still play, right? They don't care if it's shinier. Like, you know, the hardcore people, it's funny because we're hardcore, right? But when you think about, you know, how we handle stuff, like we think about the games and the box that we're playing them and the resolution that we're playing them and all this other stuff. These people don't give a shit. They just play
No, they
games,
don't,
right?
dude. They
They
don't.
just play the game. They don't care if they can get a version of it that's slightly better. That's why the Amazon Fire Stick is going to crush, um because these people don't they're not the same, right? They don't care that the resolution is not perfect. They don't care that the frame rate is not amazing or 120 frames or the highest frames. It's just not reality. So these people have had the games they wanted. So Madden players, you know, the football players, they got their game. It comes every year. They don't have to worry about it until EA says Madden is out of the older gen and is going to be next gen only. There wasn't going to be any movement there. Same thing with Call of Duty, right? As long as it keeps coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, those people are fine. They're happy. They don't care. But what did we see, right? What did we learn right now? What we learned when push comes to shove and there is a zeitgeist game, a college football that hasn't been out for 10 plus years, that is not only just coming out and, you know, fulfilling the college football need, but it's a phenomenal game, right? People are happy with this game. This is not something that people are like, "Oh my god, they dropped the ball. The game is not fun. The game is not good." It's pretty much already done what the original used to do, where the hardcore football fans, right? So I would say there's a difference between football fans and Madden fans, right? There's people who are Madden fans who will just play Madden because it's what they know, is what they love, and they're not going to do it any other way. But then there's football fans who want to play Madden, who play the college game, and most of those people from anecdotally, I'm not a football crazy person like that. So, but I've always heard that people enjoyed the college game more than the NFL game because it was more lively. They took more risk. It was funner, right? So it looks like that's already happened, right? It looks like that game has already surpassed Madden in a lot of ways for a lot of people. So if you're somebody who was on your box playing, you know, your Madden and just living that life, And now all of a sudden you say, oh snap, the new college football game's coming out and it's next gen only. And again, I know we're in current gen. I say next gen because again, I feel like we haven't really we haven't really embraced current gen with anything for real. So when they got the choice, right? When they got the choice and say, okay, I need to go and get a next gen console because I can't play college football 25. They are now put in a position where they have to choose. Do they spend 500 for the Series X or the PlayStation 5? Or do they go and spend $300 and get in at the cheapest price point that you can on next gen? And we've talked about this a lot on our show. When push comes to shove, those quote unquote casual people, the people who do not care enough to jump to the highest quality console because they're going ahead and they're playing the games they want to play on their older console. Those people, when given the option, they already had the option. They didn't go and spend the $500 necessary to be in the next gen. They already had the option. That option never went away. They just don't care. So when given the option, they're going to go the cheapest route. And that was the genius of Phil and the team. This is why coming in at a double skew where you have a high end and an entry level next gen console is finally showing why it makes sense, why it was
Indeed.
such a smart move.
Yep.
Because now we're finally in a position where those people have to make a choice because they are, in fact, gamers who want to play the latest and greatest game. They just have a particular game that they love. And now they're there. They're there. They have the college game. It's only on next gen. What has happened? Tons of people have purchased the Series S. People are talking about GameStop. We were at Target. They have a whole shelf there of college football. It's all the Xbox versions. They had like one the PlayStation version is just in the aisle, out in the not in the aisle, in the gaming aisle. When you're just walking the normal aisle, they have a big stand that had all the college football games, and they were mostly gone, but they're all the Xbox version. And on the sign, they have a special deal that says if you buy the football game, you get 20% off a Series X. Okay.
Whoa.
Now, if I went and looked, there was one Series X there, no Series S's. All the S's were gone. There's PlayStation 5s, no Series S whatsoever. There was one Series X left. So I think they're
And this
looking
is
at this saying,
firsthand. See, this is what frustrates me as just a human being. See, because why do you have? Would you lie? No, you wouldn't. Right.
what?
So you're reporting boots on the ground. I'm in the store. This is what I'm seeing with my own eyes, and there are yet people challenging it. The same thing with today. I did a 30-mile search.
Mhm.
Was talking to you in a green room. And I just want to add some context to what you're saying. I'm going to hand the mic back to you. I did a
Yeah, sure.
30-mile search. My wife and I, we're in Westchester County, right? So I did a search for in-store Series S, both used and new. And you know where I got? I got two locations that had one each, and they were both used. One was in Brooklyn, and the other one was in the middle of Manhattan. So I'm in Westchester County. I'm way outside of the five boroughs. So the closest store. Now, I mean, folks, you don't need to be a maptician to see where I'm going with this.
Yep.
I'm in Westchester County. I do a 30 square mile search, and only two stores come up in the five boroughs. And if again, I don't know how many stores that are in a 30-mile radius, but I'm going to say 15 to 20.
Yep.
And that's just taking a blind stab at it. So, folks, don't get in your feels over stupidity. These consoles are selling, but they're selling for a reason. We are presenting facts to you. Don't get on the socials and be a D-bag about it because PlayStation 5s aren't selling. I don't know what to tell you.
they're so
Xbox
butthurt
is
about it,
winning,
bro.
folks. Please continue.
They're so upset about it, and they're upset about it because it's not a it's not something that's just like a one-off situation, right? What's gonna be the norm, and this is the reality of it, as more games that are in the zeitgeist, so the bigger games, as they start to move away from multi-generational releases, so they're getting out of the old and just focusing on the new. As that happens, more and more of those people who were sitting on the side because they got their favorite game, and I'm talking about NBA, the people who love NBA, the people who love the soccer games, right? All these people, bro, there's so many of them. Every time one of these games goes next gen only, there's going to be that decision that's made. And again, because of Xbox's ability to have produced a console that was cheaper. And let's be clear, like, this is not a cheaper, crappy console. You're not getting some shit console because you bought the Series S. You're getting a high performing console. Is just not at 4K. Does everything else that the big brother does, right? Has 120 FPS games, way more than PlayStation 5 does, right? Like, this is no slouch, right? So every time one of these older generation games goes full next gen, we're gonna see the same thing. The difference is it's gonna get worse because what's gonna happen is come this fall, right? Black Friday is going to be a
It's going to be
massacre.
legendary, dude.
It's gonna be a massacre, dude.
It is.
The
It
Series
is.
S is gonna be down to more than likely
Under
199.
$200.
Yeah,
If I'm
199
look, I'll
to
put it to this
150.
way. Let's go based on the numbers. Let's not go based on opinions here because we don't want anybody else losing their shit because they're in their fields, right? Let's go based on numbers. Last Black Friday, go back and look at the numbers, folks, because I love evidence-based conversation because you can't argue numbers. You want to argue an opinion, I hear you, but you're not going to argue the numbers. There were places that were selling the Xbox Series S last year for under
Yeah,
$215.
150. I
Yeah,
saw
I
150,
saw
bro.
it 217. I saw it 219. I saw it 221. In some places that were refurbished, I seen 198. Right? That was last year. Well, now we're moving into a year where, and again, this, let me just say this. The fact see that NCAA somehow or another skipped PC and last gen and is only available on the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and S. Do you understand how that helps Microsoft hurdle over Sony? Because people in 2024 do not have money to waste. It is too expensive for everything. But I'm going to tell you this right now. Again, giving a shout out to the FSP and Psychonauts who talked about it on the show, where if you have a PS4 or an Xbox One X, you can trade it in for 60 or 70 bucks, right? The Series S is $300. That wipes it down to 230. They have a deal if you spend over a certain amount, you get $25 taken off. That gets the Series S to $205 to get into next gen. And it just so happens that this football game has exploded on the scene. Modern Warfare 3 just launched into Game Pass. They just launched season 5. And P.S. by the effing way, Call of Duty Black Ops, the pinnacle title of the Call of Duty series, is going into Game Pass. I don't think even Microsoft could have predicted this coming together of all of these titles.
Facts. Facts. I agree. I agree. It's the perfect storm right now of everything that is coming. Plus, again, When you think about Xbox in particular, that conversation is, man, this game, like there's going to be people who want NCAA who even at the $300 can't justify paying for a next gen console right now.
Right.
But for Christmas time, there's going to be a lot of people taking advantage of those deals who want to get into these next gen games. And then at the end of the day, you got to look and be like, well, come Black Friday, what's going to be out? Right?
Yeah.
What games are going to be out aside from that one, right? And all of a sudden, things look even better because you're talking Avowed being out, Stalker being out, you know, Indiana Jones on the horizon, you know, all these other games that we have coming to Xbox. It's like there is so much content that's going to be there on top of the current gen, you know, version of their game that's making them want to switch. I mean, at these prices, bro, there's no competing, right? There's no fighting it. And again, I'm not like, to be clear, I'm not necessarily saying anything about the fact that, you know, Xbox is going to outsell PlayStation. Like this has nothing to do with PlayStation. It doesn't matter what PlayStation does or doesn't do. The point is that Xbox is going to be the preferred choice for a lot of people when financials come into play. And if we
Yeah.
think about the world on a whole, right? And we think about the financials on a whole of most of the people out there, most of the people out there are not financially wealthy. Most of the people out there are looking for these deals, are waiting till they can go ahead and do it. There's plenty of parents who are waiting to get a next gen console for their kid because they know how much their kid loves to play games. They just can't
Yep.
afford it.